Well, welcome, and thank you for being here. My name is Samir. JP and I have been sitting next to each other here at Coworkly for the past few years. So I've been sitting right next to him as here with this book. So I'm really happy to be here and celebrate with all of you as you launches it today. A couple housekeeping things. If you're looking for a restroom, there are a couple down by the elevator. There's also a quiet room right there if you need to take a phone call or have some private moments. JP will do a short speech. We're also recording this for people calling out in Ottawa. I'll also do a Q&A, so have questions ready about how we about the book, how we wrote it. And there's also a signing table to sign the copies and pictures. We're going to celebrate the launch of a book, but really this is more than a book. It's about a new approach to career exploration. So this is something JP does every day. So welcome. Please welcome the author of The World Needs You, JP Michel.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I want to tell you about Trevor. Okay, Trevor's 14 years old. His passion is video games. His favorite class is gym. But this morning he's not in gym. He's taking a career test. You might know this career test. Maybe you took the same one. He's at question number 16. Do you like to sell stocks and bonds? It's a tough question to answer because Trevor's never heard of a stock or a bond. I had never heard of a stock or a bond either when I was 14. I don't know if you did. So his answer is no. By the end of the quiz, he gets his results back. It says, here's what you can be in the future. Number 1, a cleaner. Number 2, pet food taster. Number 3, slaughterhouse worker. The list feels like a huge disappointment. These aren't bad jobs necessarily, but these are not jobs. It's not a future that Trevor can get excited about. So he takes the results, crumbles the paper, throws it out. Now he's even more discouraged than he was before he took the test. And because of this experience, he's quiet quitting. You know quiet quitting as the post-COVID phenomenon of white-collar workers disengaging from their jobs, right? It's different for Trevor. Quiet quitting for him means disengaging about thinking of his future. What do I mean? Like dreaming, exploring, researching, planning. He doesn't even set goals. So now he doesn't need to take school as seriously because it doesn't connect him with something he wants in the future. He doesn't have a purpose. That seems convenient for Trevor in the short term because he can just tell himself, you know what? I'm going to figure this out later. This is a shame. It's a big missed opportunity. Causes a lot of pain for him, causes a lot of pain for his parents. Maybe his parents are thinking, I'm going to have to financially contribute to Trevor's life in his 20s, 30s, 40s, etc. That's the reality for a lot of folks. There's also pain for companies. They're looking for talented, motivated, engaged workers, and there's a huge skills gap in the job market. What are the billion-dollar consequences of the problem that we're talking about? You know what I mean. Lost students like Trevor, unfilled jobs, disengaged workers. How many 14-year-old students did the same test as Trevor? How many of them are graduating from high school having no idea what they should be doing in post-secondary? Are we talking about 2 million students, 3 million students, 4 million students every year? It's time for change. It's time we change the test. It's time we replace the theory behind the test, which is measure and match. We measure kids and we match them to one job title for life. It's ridiculous. Measure and match is holding our field back. Career exploration, education, workforce development. How can anyone take us seriously when the job title is at the heart of career development? We need a better approach. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. I had here pause for dramatic effect. Does it work? Good. For my TEDx, I had pause for laughter. Didn't always work. I think that's why you came here. You know that we could be doing a lot more for Trevor. There's a change you want to see somewhere. Maybe it's based on something that happened to you along your career journey. Marie-Claire, you were just telling me about something that happened with you. Maybe it's something that someone said. Maybe it's something that someone did. Maybe it's something you wish would have happened, wish wouldn't have happened. Can you please take a moment now to think about that? It can be big or small. And I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them either, number one, why did you come here? And number two, what do you think we should change? What do you think we should change about the way we prepare young people for their future? By the way, do you understand what I'm asking? I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this. Any questions before we start? You got it? Good? Okay, let's do it. If you thought you were going to show up here and do no work, no reflection, you were wrong. I appreciate you investing time in that. I'm curious, though, what you had to say. Can I ask two brave volunteers to share either what they said or what someone else said? Yes.
Yeah, I think Trevor is a very relatable character, and one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize about why he's doing video games and gym is because he's going through a problem probably internally or mentally, and he doesn't know how to solve it. And so when he's being asked about what kind of career he wants to do, he's disassociated from life through video games and gym. But the reality is that there's a huge opportunity for him to feel like there's something I want to commit to outside of these two areas.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes the title inspired, in my opinion.
Thank you. Luis?
So I'll answer one of the questions that is why we're doing this, right? It's for her, for the new generation, and for example, Alex was telling me an example of when she was younger, she wanted to be a lawyer, and that was something that she had in the back of her mind. And she tells me that she had one teacher that pretty much told her that she shouldn't be a lawyer because she's a woman.
Wow.
My career teacher.
Wow.
Wow. So there's a lot of power, and because of that, she actually did not go down that route. So there's a lot of power in people in that position, right? In career developers and career coaches. And providing a blueprint such as the challenge mindset and that idea, I think it's very powerful for these career coaches to have these meaningful conversations with students.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Luis. Brittany, can you relate?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I wanted to pursue law, and I wanted to go to law school. And I was told, or I was asked, like Legally Blonde. So that's sweet.
It's funny that you have the similar story, both of you. And if we think...
Elle Woods was an amazing.
I know.
She would just watch the movies. Yeah.
I mean, there's some sophisticated ideas and the world needs you about a roadmap, but what I'm hearing now is just pure encouragement versus discouragement, which is what a lot of folks need. And for people like Trevor and any teenager to feel like the world needs them is part of the encouragement that they need to reach their potential. I'm so thrilled that all of you showed up today. I'm honored that you share these ideas with me. I'm honored that you made the time to be here. Thanks for showing up for the dream of a better world for Trevor. Thanks for showing up for me. And you showing up means the world to me, so I appreciate it. Thank you. So I wrote a book. Saying I wrote a book doesn't tell this whole story about how this book happened. The reality is that a lot of people like you showed up to make it happen. I'm part of a small community of people that wants to change things just like you, to improve things for Trevor. And I want to acknowledge some of the people that played a role in making this happen. You already know that a lot of students use the challenge mindset. Over 70,000 students have used the digital challenge cards to think about their future completely differently. Instead of thank you. Thank you. It's fun, Matt, to hear you clap because a lot of you, like I met Sabrina in 2016, a lot of you I've known for a really long time, and you were part of the journey from 0 to 70,000. And that means a lot to me because you had to believe in my wild ideas when I told you them at 0. So that's why it means a lot that you're here. So Trevor can think about his future not in terms of a job title to fit into, but in terms of a challenge that inspires him, a challenge he wants to work on, a challenge he wants to solve. And this very simple shift in language can change the whole way that Trevor sees his life and his world, for him, for his classmates. So by looking at challenges, he can think about a future that's exciting, engaging, more meaningful, more connected. He gets to see the bigger picture. Why do these companies even exist in the first place? Why do they need me? He can find a way that he's uniquely wired to contribute. While Alex and Brittany had a similar event happen to them, you're both uniquely wired to contribute differently. You have unique gifts that you can offer. I don't know how many people told you that. But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. And I want everyone to learn that the world needs them. So the first thank you is for all the students who experimented and used this and gave me feedback. Good? Next. Now I'm going to awkwardly pick on some of you during this, and there'll be pictures taken of you. It's going to be so awkward, you're going to feel weird. Is that okay? Great. Cam, you ready? Cam's sitting in the back. Okay, so we'll start with Cam. Cam, you represent the educators, okay? If you're wondering who's actually changing the education system, well, he's here. It's Cam Jones. Thanks for how deeply you believe in the challenge mindset and how hard you're working to transform the education system. I talk a lot with people about here's what we need to do differently, but you're in the trenches doing it, making it happen. And I told you before, getting to partner, as an entrepreneur, the journey can be lonely at times, but getting to partner with you and seeing you make this come to life in bigger ways that I can imagine, it's not just inspiring, Cam, it keeps me going. Cool? Great. Sabrina, when you saw the problem for Trevor and his family, you said, I'm going to do something about it, and you've been doing it for how many years? I'm not sure, but thank you for the efforts that you've put in. You could clap at everybody. I don't know how it's going to feel. Let's give it a shot. My mom and dad are next. We'll see. My parents were teachers. They were in the education system. So they taught me the value of education and also to criticize the education system when necessary. That was useful, great balance. They also gave me personally a lot of space to explore in my own career exploration journey. So thank you for that. Mayor Arar, who owns Coworkly, he's not here tonight, but he gave me this great space to write and create. He's the unofficial sponsor for tonight. If any of you need a day pass to come work at Coworkly, come check it out. You're going to tell Mayor that I said that? Okay, thank you. Ramin, Medina, Nader, you've been part of my Coworkly journey. It means so much. You've had different ways to encourage me along the way in this project, and it makes a difference. Medina, I literally worked on the book cover a bit. It made a difference.
It looks great.
It looks great, eh?
It's a great book.
Thank you. And you met Samir. I sit beside Samir every day. He's very serious about looking at the world accurately, which I love. And he's got this amazing, deep confidence that I just selfishly steal from continuously. So that helps you when you're writing a book. Jennifer and Rob, you're here to support me, and you've supported me always, so thank you for being here. Seljan Ziad, also, you've supported me in so many different ways over the years, and your belief in this project means a lot to me as well. I've got my University of Ottawa friends. I'm going to call it my mastermind group. I've been inspired by your success in each of your different paths in so many different ways. Lee, I love the way you play basketball. No, but seriously, Chris, what you did with your company is an inspiration to me. And Neil, you helped me see reality for what it is and love reality for what it is. And I think part of the challenge mindset is seeing reality in a new way. And John, I love the way that you look at the world as well, whether it's entrepreneurship, the future of work. It's a nonstop source of learning for me. So thank you for being here. Matt Goat.
Can I just say I knew him before he was famous?
Yeah.
We did too.
Matt, you literally lent me your cottage so I can write this book. You read the book, you critiqued it, you were the voice, the unofficial voice of the labor market when you read this and you commented. You gave your perspective as a chief revenue officer, as a sales executive, and I felt your support, and you got your hands dirty and made this a way better book. So thank you. Luis, you got your hands dirty as well. You worked on setting up some of our outreach systems. Working with you, Luis, it feels like nothing scares you. You just go and take things on. So thank you for that. Jody, 1 year at SparkPath. The minimum commitment is 10 years. I hope you remember. You do everything: customer support, success, operations, the care and dedication, attention to detail that you bring. That lays the foundation for me to create and write. The space you made for this project is extremely important. Thank you. I can't say thank you to everybody, but I'm really grateful that everybody's here. And it can feel like a cliche to thank your partner at the end of this, but I have to tell you what it feels like being on this side, what it feels like to have Isabel's unwavering support. Isabel decided to support me no matter what in 2010. Her commitment and generosity was locked in then. Whatever the project, the mission, she's there for it. She just knows what to do. She's going to do what it takes. Also, if I sell 10 copies or 10,000 copies, she's there for it. What that creates, the psychological safety that everyone needs. You could try anything if you know that you're going to be loved even if you fail. That's just who she is, so thank you. Okay, thanks everybody for being here. Here's what I want to do next. You're going to think of some brilliant questions to ask me. We're going to do a little Q&A for fun.
My question is, what did your 14-year-old self, when you were answering those questions in the career development, what did it come out with? What were you going to be? Do you remember? And did you have somebody that was supportive that might have been able to change that trajectory for you?
I got a Forest Park Ranger, which, oh man, it sounded kind of cool, but it didn't sound serious. It sounded, I don't know, and I didn't have the courage to explore or look into it. And there was nobody around to have like a career conversation with at school about that. So I didn't look into it. A bigger influence for me at that age was my dad gave me this cool book called Basketball Fundamentals. And it was about I loved basketball, right? So it was about the psychology of basketball. And then I learned about sports psychology. And that's what I went to university for. I was going to do sports psychology. One person, off the cuff, a graduate student said to me, well, you know how difficult it is to actually do sports psychology with professional athletes? And then I don't know, like both of you, I was out. I was discouraged, oh man, I got to find something else. I'm glad about what I found, industrial organizational psychology, but I had that big moment of discouragement that is not necessarily true. Now, a lot of us in this room, we do hard things. It doesn't matter if it's hard to work with professional athletes. I would have been willing to do the work, but at that age, I thought, oh no, I can't try for something hard. What a weird attitude, right? But a lot of kids think like that. A lot of kids think the world of work is competitive, and that's a bad thing. All of my answers will be very long-winded like this one.
I like that.
Yeah, you'd like that? Okay, great.
Congratulations, JP. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I think the words that you had for Isabel were particularly beautiful, so well done. My question is a little bit, probably maybe outside of your expertise, but I'm curious. Because the book, the scope of the book is the challenge mindset for educators and career professionals.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, is the role of parents in teaching this mindset to their children?
It's a great question. I'm sure, Cam, you think about it a lot. Sabrina, do you meet with the parents when you meet with the parents? Yeah. I'll just tell you a story from this week. We're exploring making tools for parents and so that they can guide their kids in the career conversation. I created version 1 2 weeks ago. I gave it to Nicola Edwards, one of our biggest champion, Nicola that you know, and then I showed it to a parent that's not in our space, and he said, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you really?" In your guide, it says, "Be empathetic with your kids. Ask open-ended questions. Don't jump in," like all these things. And he basically gave me the direct feedback of, "You're asking way too much out of parents." So what I'm answering to you is, I'm in the middle of the exploration stage of what's realistic about transforming parents into career coaches. How can we equip them? How can we meet them where they are and give them the tools that they need? Because no matter how we feel about them, and if they don't meet our high standards of this is exactly how you have to do it, they're the number one influence. That's what the research says. It's through them. They're going to play a huge role. So the entire field of career development has to do a much better job of being accessible to parents, of helping them level up, of meeting them where they are. And we're going to work on that a lot as a company to support parents.
So I think you made a compelling case on why millions of people need this. You talked about this huge achievement, 70,000 people. That's a lot of students. But as you mentioned, there's so many more that need this. What is your next steps on going from 70 to 700,000? And if that's proprietary, then just say, details coming soon.
To me, the way I've delineated it so far is our two main routes are selling to schools. We've had amazing partners. There's hundreds of schools that use the challenge cards. I've lost track. And then there's over 100 schools that use the digital challenge cards. I think that we need to continue to support schools, but also to support parents directly. What that means from a business perspective is developing a whole new channel, a whole new way to reach parents. And we're at the beginning of experimenting on how to do that, But I think that's the voice that we need to connect with next. And a lot of people will say, well, the challenge mindset is also good for mid-career professionals. You should also talk about it with students. That's right, but with our current capabilities, we need to attack one of those groups at a time. And the next one for us to get from 70,000 to 700,000 students will be parents.
Sounds like a great move.
Thank you. Watch out for my TikTok channel in March.
I want monthly updates.
Okay.
I want to chat more Park Omega TikToks.
Okay, great.
Hey, GP. As you know, I work mostly with high school students. And I would say, this is more of a comment, and I would like your thoughts on it. I work mostly with high school students, so grade 11, grade 12 students who can see the end of high school on their horizon. They're trying to figure out their next step. And often when these families come to work with me, they're looking for an answer. And that is, as you know, in the form of a job title. We're going to work with you, and then at the end of it, we want a specific answer. And one of the most important things I try to communicate to these families is there's no formula. You're not going to get a sign. It's not like I guess the overarching theme, and I think it mesh with the philosophy of your company, is you have to take ownership of your career and your career exploration and your career journey. It is a very active process. There's nothing passive about it. Passive is where you take one of those tests and you fill out the questionnaire and then it spits back an answer at you. Instead, I'm saying this is a very active process, but most importantly, I want the young people to understand that they have to take ownership. They can't be complacent, that it's their life and their career, and most of us are going to spend many decades in the workforce, so why wouldn't you? So I just, it's not really a question, but I just wanted your thoughts on that.
I feel the same expectation you do from parents and from having spoken to parents, and that's the model that they grew up in, measure and match. It may be the model that they had in their career. It's certainly not the model for everyone today, and it's not going to be the model later, because Trevor's going to work for 50 or 60 years. 50 or 60 years. John would disagree with me. John's bold on longevity, right? So it might be even more than that. So we can't expect them to do one thing forever. So how do we communicate that as part of the comment that you made? I think the best way we're going to do it is through stories. I think that there are a handful of stories in the book that help a little bit, but the book offers the plan, the logic. That's what we need to equip educators and counselors and parents with. But if we want to get through to the students, we have to explain the big ideas in your comment through stories. We're not going to get them to read an academic book about the chaos theory of careers. We're going to tell a story about how someone's career evolves, touches one area of expertise, uses the T, breadth and depth, generalist, specialist, and include that in engaging ways that they can understand. I don't have, all of those stories polished, but if I do write a book eventually for students, I think that that's going to be at the heart of communicating those ideas. Otherwise, they're still stuck in that old paradigm of expecting, one job title. I think to me, for some students, it feels like they're at a slot machine. Okay, that career development for them feels like at a slot machine. I'm going to pull this. I'm really scared of losing. I think my chances of winning are low, but I hope I win. They take the test. What does it say? Oh man, like I chose the wrong thing. I chose the wrong job title. I'm unhappy. My life is a failure. Or I chose the right one. I got it right. There's a lot of luck involved. There's no story about casinos or slot machines in the books. That's off the cuff, but that's my experience. Yeah.
Well, I got a question about the journey. Did you find writing a book help you clear your mind on where you're going and how you're going to tell your story and sell better?
Yeah, writing definitely helps with clearing your ideas. Before the book, I thought I knew what I wanted to say, and then you come down to writing like, oh no, I don't know anything about this. I'm not clear on this idea. The boldest idea in my book is about focusing conversations on your aspirational identity instead of your current or past identity. Let me summarize really quick, because this is an example of I thought I knew what I was talking about, but it took a long time, a lot of research, a lot of writing and rewriting to clarify the idea. But to distill the idea, it's that our field right now is obsessed with self-awareness. They asked Trevor, hey, let's get started. Who are you? What do you like? Trevor's 14. His brain is literally not fully developed yet. Why is his past or his current identity that important in this process? There's not enough space for your aspirational identity. He could literally dream who he wants to become, and that might be a more important part of the process. So that idea I was excited about before, but I couldn't articulate it until I spent time writing.
So I wanted to know, JP, if Trevor was based on your father.
No? Why is that how you felt?
Trevor was very much me at 14 years old, not knowing what to do. Aside from the video games, which didn't exist back then, sports was really the only thing that kept me in school. And I was very motivated, but I didn't take responsibility for what I wanted to do till I about hit grade 12. And then I was motivated. But during those times, I don't even remember having a guidance counselor or even doing tests to try to slot us in. I don't think it existed at the time. And people were sort of all on their own. You just had to follow through on what you wanted to do. And had I had some guidance much earlier, I think I would have been much more motivated and not wasted those first few years in high school academically, and had been much more motivated to do things. Thank God I did wake up before the end of high school, but I saw a lot of my friends at that age decide, okay, we're going to go to university, and they'd start in programs at university, and they would either, over half of them either dropped out or changed programs because they didn't know what they wanted to do. And I'm guessing it's still a fairly common thing, where at least we did grade 13, so we were a little older, had that extra year to decide and things, whereas now some of these students are getting there at 17, 18 years old. And at 17, 18, I wouldn't have told you what I wanted to be or wanted to do in life. So it's very difficult for them if they don't have something to get them pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a good point, because, and thanks for sharing that, what you lived at school. A lot of people lived that at school. And I think it's hard to show up to school and take it seriously and work hard if you don't know what it's for. It just feels abstract and baseless. and you ended up successfully launching your career as a teacher and had a very successful career, but some people don't, right? Some people, they go through life thinking that the world doesn't need them. And that's why I wrote this book, is because I think a lot of people like Trevor, they show up to class, they show up to life, and they feel like the world doesn't need them, which goes against my beliefs. I think there are so many broken things to fix in the world, and we need young people to fix them. And we need to communicate that to them. I think change is fine, right? Change is good, and having some serendipity in the career process makes sense. But how does it feel going through that? I think some people feel like, okay, I want to go to med school. That sounds prestigious. I'm going to take an undergrad in science. And then when you kind of don't get the grades for med school, it just feels like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I don't have something special to contribute to the world. But that's not true. Just because you didn't go to med school doesn't mean you can't make a huge difference in the world. Okay, big thank you. Love the questions. Please stick around a little bit, get some food, and if you want to get a picture, some of you asked me, like, how can you support the book and the project? Well, you're here. That's the #1 way, so thank you. Some of you already bought the book. That's another great way to support it. You offered, Nader, to do a post on social media. Well, we've got a professional photographer here. Aaron's here. He's going to take photos. So one option, if you want, is Aaron's going to take a picture of us. He's going to send it to me on Thursday. So maybe next week on Tuesday at 12. Everybody can post. If that's something that you do, that you use social media, I think that would be such a fun thing that if we all did it together at the same time. I'm not going to do it tomorrow because Aaron might need to edit the pictures, but if we could all do it Tuesday at 12, does that make sense? Yep. Good? Yeah.
You can also buy 1,000 books.
You can also buy 1,000 books, yeah. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.